Hello and welcome back to part 4 of the Sakura Market Bag tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at rounds 16 to 31, which involves the main body of netting in our market bag. This involves chaining basically all of those rows and using anchor points, just single crochets to tie them down. It's very repetitive, so once you get the hang of it, it will be quite easy and it becomes quite fast. Grab your hook, grab your yarn, grab your project so far, and let's begin with round 16. Rounds 16 to 24 of our market bag are the same repeated round, which is also the same as what we used in round 15. So today I'm going to show you how to do that round again, and I'm also going to show you how to use stitch markers to effectively mark the beginning of the round as well as your market bag so that you can keep track of how many rounds you have done. Also the easiest way to count the rounds so you have the right amount. Let's begin round 16. We start with a chain one and then we single crochet back into this chain space. This is the first stitch of our round, so we pop a stitch marker on there. We then chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we do a single crochet into the next chain space. This helps to anchor our work. Now, I always use a marker to mark the first stitch of a round. In this case, I'm going to add another stitch marker. I'm just going to put it over my chain here, and this is going to mark the first round in my repeated pattern. This will mark round 16. I can just hang there. That doesn't particularly matter where it sits at the moment. Continuing on with my pattern, I'm going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to anchor that with a single crochet into the next chain space. Continue on with this pattern of chain 6 and a single crochet into the next chain space, and I will meet you again at the end of this round. Coming up to the end of round 16, just finishing off the pattern for the round, chaining 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a single crochet into the next space. This is the last space of the round, so I finish off this round by chaining 3 and doing a double crochet back into the first stitch of the round. 1, 2, 3, and double crochet back into the first stitch of the round. I begin round 17 by chaining 1 and doing a single crochet into that same chain space. Then I'm going to put a stitch marker in here to show the start of the round. Continuing on with my pattern, which is chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I need to do here is make sure the stitch marker is on the right hand side of my anchoring point here, my single crochet. Chain another 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and single crochet to the next chain space. And make sure it's on the right hand side so that this clearly shows the start of the first round of our repeating pattern. So it's the start of round 16. What I'm going to do is suggest you pause the video here. I'm going to meet you towards the end of this round, and I'm going to explain how we move up and how we count our rows from here. I will see you soon. Just finishing round 17, so I'm going to continue chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into our next chain space. That's the last chain space of the round, so our next stitch will be a chain 3 and a double crochet into our first stitch of the round. 1, 2, 3 chains and double crochet. That is the end of round 17. Round 18 is the same, so chain 1, single crochet back into that chain space. It's the first stitch of the round, so I'm adding my stitch marker. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into our next chain space. Chain 6 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into our next chain space. And I'm going to pause the video here so we can have a look at our work. Firstly, you can pick out our end and beginning of each row because this section here does look different to our other sections. Our rows are also, you can tell, moving diagonally to the right. So when we're counting our rows, we can't count straight up. We need to make sure we follow how our work is travelling and count them diagonally to the right. This stitch marker here is marking the start of our round, current round, which is round 18, and this stitch marker is marking our first round of this repeated pattern. So you can see this is round 16, round 17, and we've just started round 18. Or if you want to count how many times we're repeating this pattern, 1, 2, 3. Do not worry if your work is looking quite flat at the moment. It will start to take a bit of shape, and it will definitely form the proper shape when we get towards the end of our body and we begin our border at the top of the market bag. What I'm going to suggest you do now is pause the video, finish off round 18 and continue on with this pattern until you get to round 24. So you should be able to by then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to see you towards the end of round 24 where we're going to finish off this part of the repeated project and we're going to change to a new repeated pattern for the next 3 rounds. So you need 9 rounds in total. I will see you at the end of round 24. Okay, finishing off round 24, so I need to continue with the pattern, which is chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into the next chain space, chain 6 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into the next chain space. This is the last chain space of the round, so to finish off, going to chain 3 and then double crochet into that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, double crochet into the first stitch of the round. That's the end of round 24. Lay the market bag out so that I can show you how to count our rows. Okay, you can see our stitch marker is back here on row 1 of this repeater pattern, and we count diagonally to the right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 rounds of this repeater pattern. And if I show you the whole market bag as much as you can see of it, you can see on the edges it is starting to curl a little bit, which is just perfect. Starting to take shape. I do this so you can see the underneath. It is starting to curl up a bit on the edges, which is exactly what we want to see here. And as we continue, it will start to curl up even more. Rounds 25 to 27 are a new repeated pattern. It's the same pattern that we used back in row 14. So to begin, we chain 1, single crochet into that same space, add a stitch marker, signify the start of a round. Now for the next 3 rounds we're going to be chaining 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain space. What I'm going to do is use a stitch marker again to mark the first round of the new repeating pattern. So we'll be doing 3 rounds of chaining 5. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the next chain space. You can pause the video here, continue with that pattern, make sure you're chaining 5 for this round, and I'll see you when you get close to the end of this round. Finishing off round 25 with the chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the last chain space for the round. Now for rounds 25, 26 and 27, we'll no longer be chaining 3 and doing a double crochet into our first stitch, we'll be chaining just 2. 1, 2 with a double crochet. And the reason that the number has changed is because now on our repeating pattern we're only chaining 5 around, not 6. Double crochet counts as 3 chains, so we finish off with 2 chains and a double crochet. From here, for round 26, chain 1, single crochet into that same chain space. That's the first stitch of the round, so put stitch marker on that. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that your stitch marker is moved to the right hand side before you do your single crochet. Chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain space. We've just started round 26. We've completed one round of this pattern. We've just started our second round. What I'd like you to do is pause the video here, complete this second round and complete a third round. So that'll be rounds 25, 26 and 27. I'm going to see you towards the end, round 27. Make sure you remember now our repeating pattern is chain 5, and at the end of the rounds we only need to chain 2 with a double crochet. I will see you towards the end of round 27. Finishing round 27 off, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain space, and we complete this round with a chain 2, 1, 2, and then a double crochet back into our first stitch of the round. And if we check our white marker, we will see that we have done 1, 2, 3. Let me put that down so it's easier to see. 1, 2, 3 rounds of this repeated pattern. So we're about to change it up again. Rounds 28 to 30 are our last 3 repeating pattern rounds for the body of our market bag, and we only have 2 more rounds of the netting to go after that. For these 3 rounds we're going to be chaining 4. So let's begin with a chain 1, single crochet into that chain space. Use a stitch marker to mark the beginning of the round. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet to the next chain space, and I'm going to use another stitch marker to indicate the start, the first round of our 3 round repeating pattern. Chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next chain space. Pause the video here, continue with this pattern of chain 4 all the way around, and I will see you towards the end of this round. Completing round 28 with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next chain space, which is our last chain space of the round. In our new repeating pattern, we've decreased the amount of chains going around. There's only 4, which means we also decrease the amount of chains we use to finish the round. We now only have to chain 1 and then do our double crochet back into the first chain of the round. That completes round 28. We need to do this round 2 more times. So round 29 is the same. Chain 1 single crochet into that same space. Stitch marker, as it's the first stitch of the round. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're using a stitch marker to note the first round of this new repeating pattern, make sure it's on the right hand side of your anchoring, your single crochet there. Chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet into the next chain space. We have completed round 28 and we've just started round 29. So we need to complete this round and do another round of the same pattern, which is now just chaining 4. So please pause the video here, finish off round 29, repeat that again on round 30, and I will see you towards the end of round 30. Just finishing round 30, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the last chain space, and then we complete this round and this repeated pattern by doing a chain 1 and a double crochet back into the first stitch of the round. That completes round 30. Round 31 is our final round of the netting, the main body of our market bag, as well as the final round in part 4 of our Sakura Market Bag tutorial. One thing I'm going to be doing is changing colour here. I like to have a different colour for the band on my market bag, and the best way I have found to do that is to change that for the last round of netting. You can continue on in the same colour that you have, or you might like to change it with me. That choice is up to you. The best way and effective way to change your colour is to do that at the last stitch of the last round. So what I have here in round 30, I finished with a double crochet to join. What I'm going to do is undo just the last part of that. So it's the end of the double crochet, where all I'd have left to do is put my yarn over the hook and pull it through the 2 loops. But what I'm going to do is change colour, put my yarn over the hook from my new colour and pull that through. And what that has done is that has finished off the watermelon colour underneath and has left the white on top ready to start. So for round 31, we just chain 1. We do a single crochet into our chain space. Mark that with the stitch marker. And then we're doing 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next chain space. 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next chain space. If you have changed yarns, now is a good time to cut off your main colour, which I've already done. Tighten that, and I will be sewing that in securely once I have finished my market bag. Whether you're changing colours or not, pause the video here, continue with this round of 3 chains, and I will see you when you get towards the end to finish off round 31. We complete round 31 by doing 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the last chain space, and then to end this round we need to do a chain 1 and then a half double crochet. We reduce the amount of stitches going around, so we reduce our ending as well. So for a half double crochet, yarn goes over the hook, hook goes through our work, through that first stitch of the round, yarn goes over again, pull that through your work, yarn goes over one more time and then pull that straight through all 3 loops on your hook. And that is the end of round 31. I'm just going to place a stitch marker in my stitch right here so I don't lose my place. That's the end of round 31, part 4 of our Sakura Market Bag tutorial. I hope you have found this tutorial helpful and that you are following along nicely with me. Please join me in part 5, where we will add the band to the top of our market bag as well as the handles to complete it.